Graybeard Gaming. Liam, I think we live in a simulation.
What's that?
I think we live in a simulation. I think that we're in a very sophisticated, complex, incomprehensible simulation. That's what our existence is. Like Matrix, whatever you want to call it. I've been playing Half Life Alyx in VR, and I can't really. It's indescribable. It is absolutely indescribable. The game is set in like a dystopian Eastern Europe. Have you played Half-Life? Have you ever played Half-Life before?
I have not. I haven't actually been on them. Because I think there was a more PC game, wasn't it? Did consoles get it?
Yes.
I think.
Yes. Well, Half-Life 2. Half-Life 1, I think, came out on the PS2 or the Sega. One of them, it was either the Sega Dreamcast or the PS2. One of them got canceled. I don't remember which one, but it was pretty much PC. But it changed gaming. I mean, it's why we still talk about it today, is because when it came out,
it's revered.
It was like the story was like, oh, you crash land here, kill everything, and that was it. I mean, that was really the only story elements that you got of it. This was a full-fledged, hey, get up, go to work, go to your lab, and then all hell breaks loose. And then you have all these characters, and it was very inspirational for a lot of game developers moving forward. So I'll leave with that. And then Half-Life 2 came out in 2004 and just made huge waves. And that actually did come out on the original Xbox. And then they made an orange box for the 360.
Orange box.
Yeah, which has all the Half-Life stuff in it, excluding the first game. So we never got a Half-Life 3. It doesn't look like we are. Now I absolutely don't give a shit. I want a sequel to Half-Life Alyx immediately, like right now. This game is Half-Life 3. It's more of a prequel. I have to say it's not like continuation of the story, but if they continue the story in VR, I would be super, super happy about it. It's amazing to me. And I'll just talk about this one segment because it's hard to talk about VR if you haven't experienced it,
I know, yeah.
It's like, it's like, hey, Liam, I just got back from my cruise. Let me tell you all about it. And you're like, oh shit. So, I'm going up these stairs and I'm in a subway or a metro. They call it metro over there. And I'm going up some stairs and I turn and I look behind me, and there's like a wall's broken apart, and there's some things that are like litter and stuff that you would probably see in a dirty metro. And then the wall to my right is that white tile, that dingy white tile that's like chipped and is never going to get fixed. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then it's reflective of the light that's above me on the ceiling on the next flight of stairs. And then that light is reflecting on the iron guardrails. And I just stood there for a minute and looked around, and I'm like, this is how far away are we from having just complete and total immersion in a world,
Yep. Yeah, I think Ready Player One is getting closer to us.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, playing games on a Meta 3, they're fun, they're great, but this is a whole new level. This is absolute. I mean, as soon as you get into this, if you've played games on like MetaQuest 2 or even like the original PSVR, if you were to hook this up to a relatively mid PC and play this, it would blow your mind. I mean, it's just the level of detail and quality it just makes me think that it's possible. It's possible that we could actually be living in a simulation, and when we die, we just go home. We're just, that we just go home, or we take, whatever off and go, whoa, man, that was amazing. Yeah. Let me tell you about it. And then there's somebody going there going, I just got out of Earth. Let me tell you all about it. And I'm like, oh God, I don't have time for this. But yeah, it's the interaction with everything, the detail of everything. You can pick up a can and read the ingredients on it. The physics, like throwing stuff, and of course the puzzle elements are very much Half-Life. In Half-Life, there's a lot of intricate little things that it doesn't tell you how to do any of it. It just uses like visual cues and practicality to get things done. If you just stop and look around, you go, hey, I bet I can use that crane to move that thing to fall on that wall and get, and then it's like, oh yeah, there you go. So
yeah,
it is really kind of tapped into my Destiny 2 and Diablo 4, grinding. So
yeah.
So I haven't been playing.
That also reminds me of like other games, like when you say like a simulation as well. It's the same thing with The Sims or any game like that. You're just watching over these people doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's like you're watching the simulation.
For all we know, someone else is watching us.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
It should be endless like that. Yeah.
It is. I mean,
that's why scientists actually say we might be in a simulation.
Yeah, I think that's why we make these. I think that's why, I'm gonna get like super like hippy dippy metaphysical for a second, but I think we replicate what we know.
Yeah.
Where does music come from? Nobody knows. Nobody knows where music comes from. It comes from somewhere. It comes from us somewhere, but it's just ever changing, ever flowing, and it's just endless. Like music is endless. I mean, from the time that music was somebody beat a stick on a rock to today, there's very similar music, but it just continues and continues. It's got to come from somewhere. And when we make these things, I've often seen things in real life and I'm like, that was totally a Bethesda bug. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like you play games long enough, you play the games that are simulations so long enough, you start to like, there's some similarities between what doesn't work in the real world and what doesn't work in a game, and they start to converge. And yeah, it's just it's a little
you start to think life is glitching out. Like,
exactly. I dropped a screw one time. I was standing right in front of it, and I knew I was going to drop it, and I had my hands full, and I'm like, I'm just going to have to drop it and watch where it lands. Nothing on the floor. It's a complete tile floor. It's like nothing there. I watched it hit the ground and bounce once, and I heard it ding, and it bounced in the air, and it never landed. Never found that screw. Never. Like, I looked, there was really nowhere to look. It was just on the floor. And I even took a magnet and started I looked everywhere. Probably took a little too much time to find that screw, but and then it just thinks like, wow, man, that thing just it just de-rezzed. It's just like it fell in a, it's probably under the floor, continuously falling.
Yeah, it found the floor glitch. There it
did, right. It just went, and then I'm like, oh, I need to get off this floor. But yeah, it's just stuff like that, and just that immersion of playing this game is it's very enjoyable. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it feels like I don't want to say a next step in gaming, because it is cumbersome. It is complicated. I'm having issues with Steam VR. I'm having issues with, consistency in my Wi-Fi. It's not, cut and dry.
More the roadmap to next step. Like,
right.
Obviously, we have problems getting there, and not everything is smooth. But that's where they want to go. That's where they want to take it.
Right. And I've said I didn't want to get into VR until it was completely wireless. I didn't want to have wires coming off my head or my hands, and we're there.
Yeah.
But I think there's some, it's probably some things that I could probably work out just given the time. But man, it's there. It is It is legit. So whatever you heard about Half Life Alyx is absolutely 100% true. So what have you been playing in a 2-dimensional realm?
I haven't been playing much, to be honest, because I haven't been feeling too good last couple of days.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just when you just feel tired, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't want to like get up and play games. Everything feels tiring lately, so I haven't been feeling good. But I did play a bit of Hellblade.
Yeah.
That game looks incredible.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that, because that's the big game this month.
Yeah.
Now, you said you were going to play the first one again. Were you able to do that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I played through the first one. It still looked good, to be honest. It
does.
still holds up.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, when you go to the second, just wow.
Did you finish it?
I haven't finished it yet.
Okay.
I've got a few chapters in. It's very haunting, actually. Like, you know how games. I think we got desensitized to games a lot of the time, because like, I'll play Call of Duty and I'll play zombies, and if you really look into it, it's very very haunting and very demonic and Diablo and Doom, and you're just killing demons and killing things, and half the time we don't really think about it. So it's kind of desensitized to us, because we're just like, oh yeah, let's kill things because we're gamers and pew pew and it's fun. We level up. But when you actually look at Hellblade, it scared me. Like, it's not a horror game, but the way it looks so real, and the people there, and the chanting, the rituals, the sacrifices, the visuals that you see is very haunting.
Yeah.
When you actually think like about real people, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
So, well, it kind of scares me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of ties into playing something in VR that has that fidelity. I almost leaned on a windowsill to look out the window, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? It's not there. But yeah, the fidelity in Hellblade 2 is Half-Blade. That's a whole, that's a game that's not been made yet. It was jaw-dropping when I started it. I'm playing at 1440p, and I'm getting about 45 to 50 frames per second, but it's so slow. It doesn't seem to, it's not a game I think really needs, and write this down. What's today? What's the date? I'm saying this, but I don't think this game needs 60 FPS.
No, it doesn't, because that is the type of game it is, and the first one didn't either when it first came out for consoles. So yeah, definitely 30 FPS feels fine. I mean,
it does,
because it's not a fast-paced game. It's a very slow burn.
Right.
And it's a very exploration type game. I think the only thing that really helped 60 FPS would be fighting, I guess. But even then,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I got to. I played about 30 minutes, and I kept having an issue. It seemed to be like a memory leak. Like, I would get close to this, what looked like an arena or something, and it got really slow. And then when I got inside of it, it was like 4 frames per second. So I saved my game, I got out, and when I came back, I was far away from it. So I did that walk, took a little nap, woke up when I got there, and then it did it again. So I'm expecting a patch soon, and I think I'm just gonna have to wait for that, because and I haven't really looked up anything to see if anybody else is having that issue, but usually that is a memory leak, and it's usually fixed by either a video card driver update, or, which I've done, or just a patch. So, but man, that first, being on the boat and crashing on the beach is, a lot of times with games, I talk about hook, like a movie or music or anything else. It's I don't like games that's like, oh my god, you got to play it for at least 4 hours and then it gets good. I don't like that. I don't. It's got to have something that's gonna like hook you. And so far, this just feels like the first game. It's not. I'm sure it gets better and maybe can takes a different path than the first one. But
it does take a different path. I think.
Okay.
Play for 30 minutes. So I don't think.
I can't really. I can't really give an honest opinion of the game itself. But if there's a lot of that just walking.
I mean, there is a lot of walking. I will say that there is a lot of walking. It's still like the first game, like that. There is a lot of combat though as well. People said it was like really far. Everything was a step backwards in terms of everything else apart from visuals. I don't see it personally. I'm having a blast with it. Like the combat in the first game or the story in the first game. They changed the combat.
I think it's definitely better in this one.
Yeah, they changed the combat, but it feels a lot more grittier, I think, because the first game you had the same type of combat. I mean, it is basically the same combat.
Yeah.
But it feels a lot. It feels a lot more in this. It's just impactful.
It does
in this one.
Yeah, the first one was kind of just like timing, like got to get my timing down, got to get my timing.
Yeah.
Just like a video game. This the timing is you got to kind of get your movement and your timing down, and it feels a little bit more organic. In fighting than the first one does. So I definitely think that's an improvement.
I was kind of getting annoyed with a lot of the combat, to be honest. Not the game, but just the combat. Because I'm trying to evade these enemies. They pack a punch, and I'm trying to evade with the enemies, and they still hit me. I'm like, oh, go away! I try to evade.
Yeah.
But you can do it time right and like deflect their attack on them, and they get stunned, and you can go in. But it's not a button smasher. You really have to time your attacks right. Even their attacks can really kill you quickly if you're not careful. And so I didn't actually know. That's I've got a problem. It's too realistic. I can't tell what's a cutscene and what's me playing.
Yeah, it does a really good job of kind of, and by saying this, I don't like games that take the control away from you.
Yeah,
I don't like games that are trying to be cinematic and don't trust you to not look where you're supposed to look. But this game has such high fidelity and such great textures and lighting and everything. I don't notice it as much.
I can't tell what I'm playing.
Right.
And that's like a compliment because I can't tell what's gameplay and what's cutscene.
Right.
Because it looks the same thing. Because it looks that good.
Yeah.
But I noticed it when she fell down. Like enemy knocks me over, and in the first game that would be a cutscene.
Right.
Oh, she gets hit and then she's she has to suffer and do something.
Right.
But no, she gets knocked down and the enemy kills me. I'm like, oh crap, that wasn't a cutscene.
You were watching it, yeah. Wow.
So, and that happens a lot. So
is that a good thing though? I mean, I've seen a lot of read a couple of reviews and things like that, and they all talk about how cinematic this game is, and it's like a cinematic marvel and an achievement in cinematics. And I personally, I don't think as far as like industry, I just personally I tend to not play as many of those games as I used to. I don't want the cinematics. I want gameplay. I want to be immersed, and I think just playing, the first 30, 40 minutes of this game, I'm going to have problems with it. I can tell already. It's going to be, I'm going to play it. I'm going to try to finish it, but
it doesn't take that long just to get through it.
Yeah.
But it's not a game for everyone. Obviously, it isn't because it's not heavy on gameplay. in terms of it's like.
Yeah, it feels like it feels like a PlayStation game to me.
Yeah, Xbox gets a PlayStation game, people still aren't happy.
Right. Yeah, it's like this is exactly what you make, and you still don't like it. Yeah. But yeah, I have to say, like, just the performance of the actress that plays Cinema.
Yeah, Melina.
She's. You know how she got that job, right?
Yeah, she was just wasn't she like just one of the staff members of?
Yeah, she worked
of Ninja Theory, and she was just like working in audio, wasn't she, or something?
She was working
she
audio,
was just there.
and they
just went, hey, do you want to try this?
Yeah, they said, can you do this? We need to run some tests on this and this. And she read the lines, and she's like, how do I, tell me about this character? And they did, and she like nailed it. Like just did the whole thing, and they were like,
"You never did acting before,
right?" And they were like,
and they were like, "Yeah,
you're not doing audio anymore. You come straight here every day." Yeah, and she said that she, was really happy about it, and they were really happy to not have to find, that perfect person.
Yeah.
Hopefully, she got a pay raise.
Yeah, I think she did. I think she got another pay raise
by now. Yeah. But yeah, she does a fantastic job, and so far, the animations and everything are great. I'm just, I don't know. I worry about, with everything that's going on with Xbox, this thing has to sell, and I'm worried if it doesn't. If it doesn't sell, and it doesn't, if they don't see a boost or any kind of bump in Game Pass or sales, is this the end of Ninja Theory?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Think so?
They've got other projects going on. Apparently, there was another greenlit, which might be Hellblade 3. But yeah, I think they got a lot on their plate to actually do after this. So,
well,
yeah.
Jez Corden on the Xbox 2, he said that studio, Ninja Theory, because of their location, they help with other games in the Microsoft studios. So just like Coalition does, like if somebody's got Unreal 5 and they're like, we can't get this to work, like somebody from Coalition like comes over or probably Zoom meetings them and helps them with that. So they're also like a support studio for the other ones. So he said that Tango GameWorks was, since it was in Japan, right? Was it in Japan?
Yeah, Japanese, yeah.
That was one of the deciding factors because they couldn't effectively receive help or give help. It was, they were kind of like this little satellite thing. I don't know, but that's just his opinions. I don't know if that's actual fact or not, but they can, if you want to see what Unreal 5 can do, here it is. This isn't a tech demo. This is an actual game. So.
Yeah, I think it's definitely pushing the boundaries of what Unreal 5 can do, what audio can do, because their audio is fantastic as well.
Yeah, it is. They're using that binaural, I can't say that word, audio, and have a good pair of headphones. And if you, here's a tech note from Seriously Tech Stuff, my other channel. If you have a pair of open back headphones, use those. Absolutely. As long as there's not like a lot of noise in your room, whatever, but it adds another depth, and it will kind of freak you out because you hear the voices in your ear, but some of them will be like outside of your head. And it has a really cool effect. And there's sometimes where I'm like, I have to pause it and go and look behind me and go,
is anybody?
Somebody call my name? So it kind of adds a really cool layer to that, but. Yeah, their audios.
If anyone's like a fan of the first Hellblade, this was definitely, a worthy sequel. Definitely pushes the visuals. But if people want gameplay like button mashing or a lot of gameplay, this isn't for them.
Yeah,
this is a very cinematic, slow type of game.
Yeah,
so people need to know what the game is into.
Yeah, did they think the sequel is going to be like a third person Diablo 4 or? I don't know what people.
To be honest, I thought this would be a bigger game, but it's still like a story that they want to make, and
but what
still as short as the first one.
Okay, but what do you mean by bigger? Do you mean longer or more?
Yeah, I mean longer, definitely longer. I thought it'd be like more of a AAA, longer one, maybe, I don't know, 10, 20 hours or so.
Okay.
They decided to like keep their size. They didn't want to expand too much, and they still kept their sort of project going, which I can actually appreciate. They don't want to bloat their game full of nothing.
Well, they don't want to bloat their studio either. You know, they don't want to like hire like 120 more people. Somebody from Bungie years ago said something about that they knew one day when they went to work and it wasn't Bungie anymore. When they went to the break room and they didn't know anybody. So it's like all these faces that you see is like, who are all these people? And that's, he says, for him, it lost like that family feel,
Yeah.
And I think studios recognize that, and maybe Ninja Theory is that they don't want to get too big. They don't want to be. They want to be able to make stuff like this. So I hope it sells well, even if it's not something that is something that I enjoy or a type of game that I like. We need games like this. We need games that push narrative, push cinematics, push graphics, push all that stuff.
It definitely set a bar, but also the game is quite niche. So I think the first like 1 million copies or so.
Yeah.
And that was on everything, so I don't know if this will go to PS5.
That's with very little marketing, and it's mostly just word of mouth. And
I don't mind if it went to PS5 either.
No. I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't think that, and we've talked about that before. I don't think that like, if you're an Xbox, player.
I mean, if
only plays on
if
Xbox,
this was like if it's a system seller they're after, this I don't think would be it, because it is just a story-based like 8 to 10 hour game, very condensed. So it's not like
I'm
people playing for 100 hours.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Yeah, but it's not like the game
that
people would buy for.
Yeah, I mean, I even look at games now. It's like there's a lot of times where if I'm interested in a game, I'll go find out how long it is. I'm like, and it's like,
that's what I do too.
150 hour completion. I'm like, no thanks. Like Baldur's Gate 3, I have not gone back to Baldur's Gate 3 because I know if I start playing it, it's going to take me a year to finish that game, because I'm a person that I play other things. I can't, I don't just play one game until I complete it.
No, I don't either. So I hop between different games.
Yeah, I do too. Plus, when you've got live service games and stuff, that's, hey, I'm going to play whatever tonight. And somebody's like, hey, we're going to, can you help me get this weapon in Destiny 2? And then you're playing that all night, which we did last night. I got my blast furnace. So, it's, I don't think that I would prefer to have a game that's around 25 to 30 hours long and be super quality, replayable. And instead of just, God, I mean, shit, man, I'm at the age now. It's like there could be a character that showed up at hour 3 and then show up again only at like hour 104. And I'm like, who is this person? Like, I don't remember you. Who are you?
I'm pretty sure I'll do the same. It's like in a movie as well. Like someone appears, first scene in the movie, disappears and ends up at the end. It's like, oh, who are you again?
Yeah, I know. And that was like an hour and a half ago. Like, who is this guy? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, it's not so much about attention. It's just that, man, we got things going on. My memory is not, my vocabulary is, terrible as well. I think I've got like, I've digressed into like a second grade vocabulary, Great time to start your own podcast. It's like, oh, I should start a podcast and talk into a microphone with only knowing like 12 words. But yeah,
that's your practice.
yeah. So I'm gonna give this another shot when there's a patch.
Because I mean, on console, I've been fine. I would say it's a very polished game.
Is it console, a consistent 30? Or is it like
for me.
Okay.
Yeah, for me it's been consistent 30. It feels great. A lot of people had issues with the black bars because it is black barred game.
Yeah.
But if you're playing on an ultra wide monitor, that would fill up the whole screen, so that would look beautiful on that.
Wow, I didn't even notice that. Now that you mention it, I saw it in the cutscene, and I didn't even realize it had bars on it.
Yeah, it still looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Either way. So I don't know if this will get like a patch on Xbox for like 60 frames or anything, because
no.
So it feels fine. I don't think it needs it, and it's already really pushing the Xbox hardware as it is.
Yeah, so, I think everything's pushing this generation of consoles.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like it's really pushing. I don't know how like CPU demanding it would be, but they're really pushing visuals on this thing.
I think it's Unreal 5 does more so. I mean, if you notice, like now that games have started to come out with that engine, the performance has dropped on both consoles. I mean, it's not it's not just Xbox or Xbox Series S or anything like that.
Yeah, I know it's like there's a lot of things as well, a new engine and ray tracing and all this fancy stuff that they've got going on. It does take performance though.
It does. There's the lighting system. What is it called? I think it's called Lumen or something like that. That's
Lumen,
that takes a toll as well, and it will get better, but I think you'll be in a new console before it gets. You start rolling out games that look like that are 60 on console.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because games like that, they really push something there.
Yeah.
So for a small team, they just know how to make that engine work though.
Well, you on a side note, you mentioned earlier that Avowed has been confirmed to be in Unreal Engine for 5.3.
Yeah.
And my remark, of course, was it's going to be 30 frames per second. You think there's any chance that game is going to be 60 on the consoles?
Well, I did read up. I don't know about engine or development or anything, but I did read up that the latest Unreal Engine versions have more performance
optimization.
So optimization to 60. So
okay.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Gears is on Unreal Engine, and they always stick that on 60. So it depends on like your vision for the game, because I think Hellblade was a case as well, where they really wanted to get the mocap on, the meta-human tech, the best visuals. I don't expect Avowed to look like Hellblade.
Yeah, it seems like it's probably just from what I've played from Hellblade 2, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of geometry there. It's all like the characters. It looks like they could have probably had a performance version of that, but what would that look like? I can kind of see now that I've played the game. It's like, wow, this looks absolutely amazing. If you had this on Xbox Series X on performance mode to get 60, would it even look as good as the first game?
Yeah. And they would have to take a hit, because people just want frame rates, but you have to sacrifice something, and I think they just wanted their vision. I think that's that movie quality that they're going for it's got to be Presidents, and that's why they're setting it at 30. Still prefer 60. I mean, I don't care what kind of game it is. I still prefer 60 frames per second, but that's why I went to PC. But and I can even your PC is not hitting at 60 all the time, is it?
I can get it to be 60, but again, just like probably their decision, I'm going to lose that fidelity that I want to see. I want to see what this game is going to. I want to see that. Like right now, in all the cutscenes, or even when the characters turn around, they look real. They look like real people.
Yeah, it looks like they just took people in real life and just stuck them on the screen. I thought it looks real.
Yeah, it does. It's just amazing. It's always funny to me. It's like if you go back 10 years and you look at some certain game, everybody's like, "Oh my God, that looks real." But you look at it now, 10 years ago, and you're like,
"Yeah, no." You look back on
garbage.
It, like, yeah,
it's so funny.
With the Matrix demo, that came back a while out.
Yeah.
When that released, and I looked at it, I can't deny how good it looks, but it gave me that uncanny valley vibe.
It does, yeah.
It really does. Like when I saw the characters, they look off.
Yeah.
And I couldn't shake what it was, but that must be what the uncanny vibe. I don't get it on Hellblade.
No.
I don't get it on Hellblade. It's just that's real. I don't know what changed between,
I think that demo was just not. It didn't have the time and polish that this game has. I think it was something that they really just wanted to put together to see.
Yeah, just to show off, what it could do. But the Matrix demo, that really gave like uncanny vibes. But Hellblade 2, like I'm just looking at that. Yeah, that's a real person.
Yeah, I mean it looks just. Oh man, it's a little scary. To see what we've got, in store for us, 10 years from now.
Yeah. Considering like what gaming's been around, just 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
Maybe 40 years max?
It's been almost 50 years. Yeah.
50 years. Well, yeah. I mean, for like a mainstream thing.
Yeah, something like progress right. Since the Atari, I would say it was the first gaming system you could get at home that had multiple games that was affordable. Before that, you could buy an IBM computer, you can buy a, Amiga or something like that. And when I was a kid, we had Pong, and it played Pong, 3 different games, and they were all basically Pong-related games. That was it, until the Atari came out, where you're like, wait a minute, I can take this out and put this other thing in, and it's a completely different game. That's like mind-blowing. Like, holy shit. Let's go to the store.
From there to here, really
wow.
not that long, and look what we've achieved. Look what we got so far. So next 10, 20 years, I don't know what's going to happen.
No,
it'll be mind-blowing.
I don't know. Hopefully Avowed will. I hope it gets 60 FPS on the consoles, but maybe we'll find out at the expo.
Yeah, well, we'll get more information on the showcase.
Rumors are flooding, but we're not going to talk about those yet. We're going to wait till next week to talk about all the rumors, because I want to wait closer to the show, and because it's on the 6th, which is a Thursday, and then we'll be on the 2nd. So we're going to talk about all the rumors, and then we're going to talk about what we hope is going to happen. Now that it's closer, we're going to make a list. We're going to see who's right and see what's going to happen with that. So, but moving on, our next article, I always like to talk about games media because I think it's important. Even doing this show and talking about the things that are in the gaming industry, we have to have sources and we have to have information. And that information is not always right, and it's not always from someone reputable, or it's not always, it's something that somebody, I don't know, post on Twitter, and then everybody, runs with it. And I've got an example, and you probably heard this. Microsoft is buying Valve for $16 billion.
Yeah, saw that on Twitter.
Yeah. I saw it on some gaming sites as well. So and that, those kind of things could be detrimental to someone's pocketbook when you start spouting off crap that doesn't exist. This is fake. It's a total rumor. They did offer. I think they offered. It might have been $16 billion like 10 years ago. They did offer to buy Steam. Steam said no. Steam's it's not a publicly traded company. They're private. And they can just very well say no thanks. And that was it. That was all there was. Hey, can we buy you? No. That was it. They did have a meeting with Nintendo at one time. I think back in like 2006 or something. 2000. And 2 guys flew all the way out to Japan to have a meeting with Nintendo. And they sat down and they said, this is what we're willing to offer you for Nintendo. And they laughed. They laughed at them. And they laughed and laughed and laughed until they just got up and walked out of the room and had to go back to Microsoft and go, how'd it go? They laughed at us. So, that's how business is. You try to buy your competition. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, this is a rumor. But the reason I bring this up is that something else happened as well that could be big. It might be nothing. It's probably big. But IGN Entertainment, which is owned by Ziff Davis, and this is according to Forbes.com and Mr. Paul Tassi, who's I'm not a big fan of, has bought the entire gamer network of brands. And now this includes Eurogamer, GamesIndustry.biz, which is where I get a lot of my stories, Rock Paper Shotgun, and VG247. Now, those are all gaming websites. But it also has shares in Outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension. Of course, there's already been layoffs because there's some redundancy there with IGN and these websites. And it just seems like a weird move that IGN is slowly becoming just this huge media juggernaut. And if you don't have multiple sites, getting information and, maybe getting slightly different information, and you're just getting it from one source then,
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem. Just like if IGN had run with this story, Microsoft is buying Valve, without facts, without checking the facts, those things change the industry. Just a story like that could change a lot. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm not a fan of IGN. I don't know how you feel about IGN. There's been a lot of controversy around IGN over the years, along with GameSpot, along with Polygon, and a lot of websites that I used to like that IGN has purchased are now gone, So, but yeah, we need to keep our eye on this. And I bring this up.
I don't like IGN anyway, so that's a problem.
Yeah,
they always.
I don't really know anybody who does.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a website or the news media, just social media on Twitter, but they're always fishing for clicks.
Oh God, they're terrible. GameSpot does the same thing.
Yeah, but it's like they post a story like the same thing in like 10 days, like every single day. Hey, this happened.
Well, it's
Xbox
just because
bad or Nintendo bad or like click. Oh my God, we get it.
To click on it. They got to get the clicks. That's how they make money now. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's how they make. It's the engagement that It's not being reputable and being respectful, and then having advertisers give you money for your platform. It's not that anymore. You have to be on social media. You have to have these clickbaitery stuff that is stupid, that just makes you look stupid, and it gives misinformation every single day about the gaming industry. So I did a little research, and I thought it was funny, and I just did a search: is gaming websites bad for gaming? Because I thought I might come up with some articles on some off sites, that aren't maybe game related. I found this from 12 years ago on Reddit. Someone asked, this is just a Reddit post, but if Kotaku and IGN are bad source for gaming news, then what is a good source? That was 12 years ago. Like we knew this back then, and prior to that, and people were still asking about, where do you get your news? Well, that's a very good question. Where do we get our news? I don't know. So whenever I bring a story here, I try to make sure that I've got a couple of websites of posting the same thing, and then I'll pick the one that seems to have less of their own personal agenda, politics on it. So I don't know, but is this a good thing or a bad thing? Or does it matter? Does it matter to us? I don't know.
I think it's a bad thing, but I don't know. For us, we just have to wait until the official accounts things say, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's just a matter of, do you believe these people or not? If you believe them, then you might be in trouble. If you have a little bit of reservation about the stories that they run. There's a guy on IGN. There's a guy that writes for IGN that in his profile it says that he hates Xbox. He hates it, and he's written stories and articles about Xbox. So, that kind of mentality for me. If I own a website, say that I don't know, all about running shoes, right? And I had somebody that's like, oh, I'll hire you as a writer. You know all about running shoes. And he goes, yeah, I know all about running shoes, but I hate Nike. Hate them. I hate everything about Nike.
Yeah.
I would be like, thanks for coming in. Bye. But no, IGN is like, oh, this guy's, give him a raise. I don't understand that. That's just not, that's not how you do things.
As I said before, it's all about engagement based. That's all it is.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, if you say you purposefully hate a platform that you're going to be reporting on, that's unprofessional and it's stupid. And I think he needs to find another. A lot of the writers for IGN are freelance. And if you click on their name, you can find other articles that they've written, and some of it might be about knitting and about Palestine, or about what's the best cat for a lonely person. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like these are not like people that love gaming. These are not people that are passionate about gaming. These are people that just got a job and they're just writing a story about it, and then not fact checking anything. So, it's just.
I mean, it's like now with like the next Xbox conference, you could read all day about every single news story about what could or could not happen, or you could just wait for the event.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to speculate, sure.
It is.
I don't want to be in like my nose deep into every single story, and then Xbox is shutting down.
Exactly. How many stories are we going to get? Like the end of Xbox, or Xbox is doomed. Xbox is, if I had a nickel for every time I saw a headline that was Xbox is the end or the decline of X or this or that. I mean, I'd be rich. I mean, they've been saying that since they invented the first Xbox. It's they're not doing great. They're making money, but it is what it is. We need Xbox. We need PlayStation. We need Xbox to compete. That's only better for me and you. That's only better for the people that buy the games. We need that. We need them to be healthy. We need Sony to be. I'm more worried about Sony than Microsoft, to be perfectly honest. Hopefully with their new leadership, they can kind of turn around and get caught up to speed. But yeah, I'm really concerned about them more than Xbox. Xbox is Microsoft is $1 trillion company. I don't worry about them. I'm worried that if PlayStation fails, then Xbox, holy cow, they if Sony failed for whatever reason, mismanagement, money, some catastrophic failure, and there was only Nintendo and Xbox in the console market, you don't want that. You really don't want that. Just like you don't want a world where PlayStation is not there competing with Microsoft. Just like you don't want a world that Xbox is not there to compete with PlayStation. You don't want that. Prices go up, quality goes down. That's when you have a gaming crash or a video game crash, because the quality of things, you don't have to have that quality, because you're going to sell those products anyway, because that's all there is.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to something more happy, like Doom. And of course I'm talking about the game, but we got our first leak, not our first leak, but our first Doom leak. And this comes from MSN, actually. This is where I found a couple of these, but I thought it was better to get this, go to the source and go to the Microsoft network. So anyway, the title of the next Doom franchise is supposedly The Dark Ages, and will be shown at the showcase on June 9th. And it is reportedly scheduled to arrive on Xbox, PC, and PS5 on the same day. Now, as previously codenamed Year One, and we got that leak a while back, and with much speculation. But the Dark Ages. Is this maybe? Are they going for a medieval melee combat take on the Doom franchise?
I've read that it's a medieval type setting.
Okay.
I saw of the leak, but that's all I know. As I said, it's just a leak. Might not be anything.
Yeah,
might have completely wrong. It might be a Doom game and it got completely off though.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, this is kind of like a taste of what we're going to get throughout the next couple of weeks. It's going to be stuff that's like, oh, Fable is coming out. They're going to shadow drop Fable. Like, no, dude, that's not going to happen. But this one seems a little bit more legit. I mean, we've known that they were working on something. We assumed it was a Doom game. I was hoping it was a Quake remake. But okay, the Dark Ages. I don't know. How big of a Doom fan are you?
Not much of a Doom fan, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
I haven't actually got into them. I think the last time I was playing Doom was PvP Friends, which was fun to do. But yeah, I haven't been a big Doom fan.
I am a giant Doom fan. I still play the 1993 version, with mods. Yeah. But I mean, it's Doom Eternal. I have to say, it's not my favorite Doom. Doom 2016 is absolutely one of my favorite Dooms. I think that was a much better representation of what a future or a modern Doom game should be. Doom Eternal was Doom it felt like Doom Nintendo 64. Like, there was so many jumping puzzles and platforming that to me it did not feel like a Doom game. It felt like a platformer with Doom combat thrown into it, not the other way around. It was enjoyable. I finished it. I played the first DLC, which I thought was a little better because it didn't have so much of that. But I'm a Doom fan, and I'm pretty positive this is going to be multi-platform. It's been multi-platform since it's been out. There hasn't really been any Doom games exclusive to any one platform, so it makes a lot of sense that this is going to go to PC and PS5 as well on the same day. But as far as it being a maybe swords and axes and shields and yes, please, yes.
No. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm fine with that. It's not going to be. They could not change that much. It's most likely going to be like a going back in time, Evil Dead 3 type kind of situation where you're going back in time and you have a shotgun but I don't know. This is the same team that made the first two, so I'm sure it'll be good.
Let's see what they can do with like next gen power as well on their engine.
Yeah, I mean, Doom Eternal holds up. I mean, even on the Xbox Series S, holy shit, that game looks just absolutely fantastic. And it was one of the first games I downloaded when I got my PC, and wow, holy cow! I mean, 60 FPS. I don't think I ever hit 60 FPS. I think it was like 100 and something in the menu.
Yeah, it's a very polished engine as well, very optimized.
Yes,
they've got
this is their
down.
id Tech engine. It's what they're using for Indiana Jones as well. So yeah, it's going to be a beautiful game. I hope it's Dark Ages. I hope it's axes and swords and shields and crap, but it's not going to be.
I mean, might be fun, but yes, we'll see. I guess on the Xbox, I've actually seen like people now as well. Like Xbox can't win on the internet. Now people are saying, "Oh, Xbox is dead because it's on PS5." Like a minute ago, Xbox was a monopoly when they bought the studio. Now it's dying. Make your mind up, man.
Yeah, they don't. I see a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Oh, I can't wait to play the new Doom game on my PS5," when, their previous post was how shitty Xbox games are, and now they're like, we can't wait to. God, just grow up, people. Just grow up.
It's like if a game
for everybody.
If a game is available everywhere, cool. If it's exclusive, cool as well, because the platform wants to.
Yeah, I mean
it's also theirs, but
it's only going to benefit the studio that made it, and it's going to it's available to more people. I don't think exclusivity is it's just such a it's just an archaic way of gaming. I mean
I understand why exclusives exist, and we understand why. Obviously, they own the studios, or they want to promote their brand and so on.
Yeah,
I think exclusivity, though, it has kind of reached its limit. I think it used to make more sense years ago, but now I think we're getting into a point in games where their budgets are, getting ridiculously high. If you're putting like a big AAA game out there or a live service game. And it's not good for you to make it that exclusive if you're definitely not.
Yeah, it's.
And I think it's reaching a point where exclusives need to go away more than need to add.
Yeah,
have some exclusives, sure, but I think the majority need to go multi-platform. For better for the studios and for us. Otherwise, you have mass layoffs in the industry as we already had. And they need to make a return on their games.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Also, Nintendo, like Nintendo, put your games on PC. Like, stop. Stop.
I think Nintendo, the only ones who can get away because they can make their low powered machine that everyone will still buy.
Well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
They don't have to spend that much money on developing games.
That's fine, but don't you're gatekeeping your games. Like, what was it? Somebody says Mario 3. They went to the Switch to buy Mario 3. Mario 3, which came out 92, 93, something like that. It was $60, $59.99.
Yeah. Like the game's never like
what is wrong with you? Like, god damn.
Yeah. Nintendo's a different animal.
It really is, completely. But they're not. I get a little triggered when somebody says it's like, oh well, Nintendo's the best gaming company in the world. I'm like, oh my god, sit down. You're going to listen to me for 20 minutes on how bad they are for the industry. Well, I mean, you got to look at it from that, and that's somebody that's looking at it from. I love Nintendo, so this is what Nintendo does. No, you need to look at it as I go to the store to purchase games, and these games I want to be cheaper, and I want them to, especially the older they get, the cheaper they get, just like everybody else, and that doesn't happen with Nintendo.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Really doesn't. They're a different, completely different animal to the rest of the industry.
Well, that's why I don't like Nintendo. Just for the record,
I think they need to change mentality the way down the line. But
why they still make just a fuck ton of money? I mean, God, they have so much cash. Like we talk about like how much these companies are worth and everything. Nintendo, I would have to look up how much they're worth. But about 2 years ago, I looked up how much they were worth in cash. And they were worth like some $70-80 billion in cash. And what that means is that's not money that is put in. That's not invested money from investors. That's not their like overall. That's how much. Like if they went to the bank if Nintendo was a person and went to an ATM, they go boop 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 boop. Take out $80 million. No problem.
Yeah.
I'll take out $40 billion today. Tomorrow I need some groceries. That is how much money they got. It is insane, and they keep it because they keep their prices just excessively high. And that's why I don't like them. That's we have to make sure that we're looking at this as a consumer.
Yeah. Yeah, totally on Nintendo. You see, they bought their third-party studio. Like they bought a studio to help port games for them.
Nintendo
To
did?
the Switch 2. Yeah, I can't remember what the studio was called now.
Cha-ching? Is it called Cha-ching? Like money maker Inc. I don't know. I'm of course being silly, but so they're
they have bought.
This is a
they bought Florida-based studio Shiver Entertainment.
Okay, so
from Embracer.
Well, slow down. What you're saying is they've bought a studio to make sure that the Switch 1 games are compatible with the new Switch 2 that has not been announced yet.
No, they're purchasing this studio to make sure that third-party games get ported to.
Oh, okay.
Because
had me going there for a second.
Yeah, this studio released Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat to Switch, which I think was it Mortal Kombat that looked terrible?
Oh God, it was. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if that was any indication of you need a new console, that was it.
Yeah.
That game looked just terrible. It looked like an alpha. It looked like pre-alpha. No, it looked like a demo of something. It's like, hey, this is a game. Check it out. I made this over the weekend. Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, they're prepping for Switch 2. They haven't actually released it.
And we don't have.
Just waiting for news on that.
Well,
literally nothing.
We haven't got anything from them on, if they're going to have like any kind of E3-ish thing this summer or not, right?
No idea.
Sony,
I have no idea.
Sony never says anything until it's like 2 days before. Hey, we're having this thing 2 days before. Which is probably smart. To be perfectly honest, that's really smart. Because guess what? If you only have 2 days to speculate, and that's just not enough time.
We haven't got enough window to
Xbox, it's like, see you in June, and it's like next year. And until then, it's just like this giant buildup. And then when you watch it, it's like, where's Gears Collection? Where's Oblivion Remaster? Where's all this stuff that in my head should be there because I've had 6 months to think about it,
Yeah.
Like, but, yeah, they should probably just stop doing that. But they won't. They also should probably just stop talking, too. Stop talking about stuff and just do stuff. Release games now. So, anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that sums up our week. Next week is going to be interesting. We're going to be looking out for leaks and rumors, and we're going to pull those together, and we're going to talk about this thing before it happens. And, yeah, I have my speculations, and I know, Liam, you probably have yours, and we'll see how it comes to fruition. Cool. All right. Well, we are out of here. You guys have a great week. Catch you next time.